Good morning, everyone, and welcome everyone who are joining us live today. Today, we are going to talk something about which we are already building, that is the rack system. But most importantly, we are going to talk about why they fail and how to design an enterprise-grade, production-scale rack ready, which is going to deliver trust and outcome. So before I proceed, as we all know, Salesforce is a publicly traded company. All your purchasing decisions should be based on what is available in the market today. Since we have a culture at Salesforce, before we start anything, we say thank you. So thank you everyone who are joining us, and we hope we'll make it a huge success and you will learn something good today. So I, Rakesh Mishra, who is working as a product FD at Salesforce. Alongside me, I'm thrilled to be joined by Yogendra Jangid, who is working as an SMTS at Salesforce. Over the next 16 to 17 minutes, we are going to speak about the experience that we have had so far working in enterprise with various applications like Data 360 and Agentforce, and what are the experience that we have gained in terms of making an enterprise RAG ready, which can deliver actually trust and outcome. You have built an agent and you deployed it into production. And your agent just confidently gave wrong answer to 4,000 customers. Most of us built a rack system in a couple of days. Then we spent months in fixing it because they do not work in the production environment. So what could be the reason? What we always blame is the LLM. We think the LLM is not working, right? So the root cause of this is the retrieval architecture, not the LLM. As you can see, the three pillars which are mostly contributing towards an enterprise rack system failure. One is wrong data. If you are feeding incorrect data to your LLM, your agent is going to respond on top of that because your grounded data is wrong. Context overload. If you are passing too many chunks to your LLM would start inventing answers. It will mostly summarize the answer which is not accurate to your customers. Then no governance. If you are not applying any role-based filtering while you are creating your retrievers, you would actually expose a lot of information to other customers or end users who are not supposed to see that information. So these are the primary factors. Now let me ask you a question. How many of us have actually built RAG before? If you can raise your hand. Yes, I think most of us, right? And how many of us actually trust what we have built? Yeah, the hands are very less, right? Yes. So the difference between what we have built and the trust factor is what we are trying to solve today. And we will make sure over the next couple of minutes, we are going to share the experience of how you are going to build something which is going to be production ready at scale, which is going to deliver trust and outcome. Now let me tell you a story which I have experienced. So we built a rack system during the initial days of me working on Agentforce project and Data 360. It looked great. It was a very simple rack system. The client was happy. They tested it. We moved it to production, single retriever strategy. On Friday, we shipped it to production. On Monday, I was sleeping and I woke up, I saw 63 missed calls on my phone. And I called the client and asked what happened. And they said, the agent is responding incorrectly from different accounts, and it is providing wrong data to various customers. And in one scenario, the client explained me that one of the customer was seeing someone else record within the same org. So we had to roll back from production. The difficulty part was not rolling back. It was the conversation with the customer, because on the last Friday, the stakeholders went home and screamed with joy that we have AI now. And on Monday, it was not working. So the trust was gone. It was completely broken. And the root cause was not the LLM. It was the retriever architecture. So as you can, I think we all relate to one sentence that it works in demo and breaks in production. At least for me, I have seen every time whenever we are demoing it to the customer, it works very well. And as soon as we ship it to production, it starts breaking. I think we all have faced this issue. Now let's talk about how we actually make it better in terms of scaling it into production. So as you can see, the difference between a simple RAG and an enterprise RAG. The left side is what we are building now, and right side is the part what we are supposed to build in the next couple of minutes that we are going to talk about. A simple RAG is a single vector without having any role-based filtering, no metadata, and there is no ranking, and no context quality gate. It works in demos and breaks in production very badly. And on the right side is what we are trying to build is enterprise RAG, multiple specialized retrievers, structured, semantic, and real-time, roll-hour chunking, metadata filters, and designed for production, built for trust. So this is what we are going to build today, and we'll see what are the steps in building this. If you can take your phone and take a snack, this is very critical that we are going to talk. This is what is going to be your architecture blueprint of building an enterprise RAG stack. We have built it from a bottom-up fashion, from layer 1 to layer 4. As you can see, layer 1 is our data source, which consists of structured data, unstructured data, external or real-time data. Then we have unified retriever layer, which consists of 3 different retrievers: structured or query retriever, semantic hybrid retriever, external or federated retriever. Then the layer 3 is the most critical layer, guys. I just want to make sure that we remember it. Layer 3 is the layer which we call it as context orchestration layer. This is the unsung hero, which prevents any sort of hallucination that you are facing in your agent currently. As you can see, it combines the information of this retriever layer, enforces row-level security and policy controls, and performs re-ranking and relevance scoring. So it makes sure that it provides the relevant information to the LLM. LLM processes it, then provides you better result. And the 4th layer is Agentforce agent layer, which we all know. The context layer provides the data, which Agentforce layer processes and provides the grounded response to the user. So that's the final layer. Now let's see the 3 retriever strategies that we talked about in brief. As you can see, we have 3 retrievers. First retriever is structured or query retriever, which is precision first or based on factual. For an example, a customer comes in and asks you a question: when was my case last updated, right? So what we do is we query on the record and provide the exact timestamp. In this scenario, agent cannot hallucinate, right? Because we know that we have queried it, and it is the exact timestamp that we are going to show up. So this is something that works for CRM records via SOQL. Then the second retriever is vector or hybrid search. So if a customer comes and asks you a question that, okay, what is the return policy? You cannot apply an SOQL query on that, right? So every retriever fits for different use case. In this scenario, because we know that the grounded data is files or PDFs, so that is the reason why we are going to use vector or hybrid search retriever, which is going to chunk that information and provide that output. And the third retriever, which is most critical, is the ensemble retriever. So if your client or if the org that you are working has data from different systems, and you have retrievers to cater all those systems, in that case, you are going to use ensemble. Ensemble it takes the data from various retrievers, applies re-ranking, applies context and governance, then provides the response, which is a production grade at scale. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. That user came in and asked to your agent that, when is my case reopened, and what is the SLA for a platinum tier account, right? So what is the retriever that you are going to choose? Any guesses?
Ensemble.
Ensemble, yes, right. Because your first question is related to case reopen date, that is a SOQL retriever or query retriever. And second question is related to SLA policy, that is going to be a vector or hybrid search. So since there are 2 retrievers, you want to combine them into one, that is why you are going to use ensemble retriever. Now, just to take those 2 slides back that we discussed and put it in one, as you can see on the left side is the 3 retrievers, and the middle is actually ensemble retriever. That is where we are sending the retriever data into the ensemble retriever, which kind of merges all 3 sources, then applies re-ranking, applies governance, apply role-based filtering, then creates the grounded response for your Agentforce agent LLM. So once you send that information to your agent, it cannot hallucinate. It will provide the better result and accurate result that we are looking for since days. The magic is not retrieval, it is the orchestration, how we are orchestrating and sending the data to our LLM. With that, I would like to call up on stage Yogendra Jangid, who is going to talk about the Goldilocks problem patterns.
Thanks, Rakesh. And that's really the great insights around the retrievers and different types of retrievers. As we just saw, single retriever is not sufficient enough for our use cases. We might have a variety of use cases. But retrievers are the only way that can solve a problem. What about the data? How would you feed the data to your agent? That's also very important. And that's where the Goldilocks problem will come in. So if you provide very little information, is that sufficient enough for your agent? No. Because this is the time where the agent will try to manipulate the answer, fabricate the answer, and it will go into the hallucination mode. But what if you give a lot of data to your agent? A lot of information is not always great. With a lot of information, your agent will be confused while getting the chunks. So what should be the right data? Right data is just the right data. It must be grounded. It should not have a lot of data. It should not have less data. It should be what it is looking for. That's the right data. And this is what exactly the right chunks comes from the trusted sources. If I may ask you, what is the number one value for Salesforce?
Trust.
Trust. And this is where the Agentforce is no different to this. So we have to have the trust at the very first place. It's designed, it's not hoped for. We must set the trusted data boundaries. For example, you have 3 or 4 data sources, but if your agent should not be retrieving data from the third data source, there should be a full stop on this. It should not breach into that third data source boundary. Access control and retrievers. How many of you have implemented a row-level securities while implementing your agent? It's pretty important. You might give the access related to your data, but if you do not control the row-level securities, and that's where, when my friend was talking to you, the customer was able to see the data related to the other account when it was shipped to production. This is why it happened. So you should maintain the row-level security. Last but not least, if I may ask you how the agent retrieved that information, it should give me the citation links to this. If you do not have a citation, it may be inferred that it's coming from somewhere else. 4 failure patterns in enterprise RAG. The first is you should never fall for a single retriever trap. It always depends on your use case. Context overload. Never pass on too much information. Never pass less information. It should be the right data, grounded data for your agent. No fallback strategy. An answer which says, I do not have an answer to your question is far better than hallucinated answer or the confused answer. You should always have a human in loop if your agent is not able to retrieve the information from the system. And lastly, the governance. It should not be left behind. It should be at the very first place, the governance. 4 things to remember with this. Enterprise RAG is a layered system. It's not a single retriever. We just saw the different layer of architecture, so we should follow the same architecture while we are implementing the enterprise RAG. Retrieval design is your success factor. It's not the model. You should understand what you are looking for, and accordingly, you need to design your retrievals. The governance is not a checkbox. It should be there from the day one. And the context is not just a data dump. It should be with the right data so that your response with the agent will be grounded what information you are providing your agent with. I know we have talked a lot. Let's see everything in action now.
This is Cloud Corp Tech Expansion, a $5 million enterprise deal in negotiation stage. One question on the table: what should I do next? The answer depends entirely on how well the retrieval architecture is built. Source 1. Our knowledge base. Article 1448, the Enterprise Discounting Matrix for 2026. This is a mandatory policy requiring a 15% manual discount buffer on all multi-year enterprise contracts. A basic RAG agent often misses this specific Goldilocks detail, but it's the key to protecting our margins. Data Source 2, Article 1449, Competitor Analysis, Cloud Corp Q2 Strategy. They are undercutting our enterprise tier pricing by 12% this quarter. The counter? Do not match price. Lead with Agentforce native reasoning as the ROI differentiator. Data Source 3, a live external web feed. The high-tech vertical, churn risk score, 85%. Volatility index at 8%. That score triggers Protocol Blue 7, immediate executive engagement required. This data lives entirely outside Salesforce. Only a web retriever can surface it. Here is the architecture. 4 retrievers, all active. Knowledge, opportunity, web, and above them all, global account intelligence, the ensemble retriever. It orchestrates the other 3, merges results, re-ranks for relevance, and builds one trusted context window before the agent speaks a single word. Basic agent first. Single retriever. No ensemble. Same question. What should I do with the Cloud Corp deal? The response comes back. Confident. Fluent. Follow up and discuss pricing options. No policy. No competitor intel. No market signal. No Protocol Blue 7. Completely useless to a representative about to close a $5 million deal. This is the agent that ships on a Friday and gets rolled back on Monday. Enterprise agent now. Watch the opportunity retriever fire first. Get the latest pipeline adjustment for Cloud Corp Tech Expansion. Exact SOQL query against the CRM. Latest adjustment, April 5, 2026. Amount reduced by $500, from $5,500,000 to exactly $5 million. Hard facts. Precise record. Zero ambiguity. That is structured retrieval. Retriever number 1 in action. Same question as before, but now all 3 retrievers fire through the ensemble. The response is completely different. Pricing policy, 15% buffer, protect the margin. Competitor intelligence, Cloud Corp undercutting by 12%, counter with Agentforce ROI. Market signal, 85% churn risk, Protocol Blue 7, fast track the executive engagement. 3 retrievers, 3 data sources, 1 grounded, trusted, actionable response. The model did not get smarter. The context got smarter. That is the entire point. Now, let's put the architecture to the ultimate test, governance. In a high-pressure negotiation, a representative might be tempted to over-discount to close a deal. I ask, can I offer a 20% discount to close this faster? Watch the agent's response. It doesn't just say, no, it enforces the policy. Trust is designed, not hoped for. I ask for the reference citations, and every claim traces back to a trusted source, Knowledge Articles 1448 and 1449, the web feed, and the Salesforce record itself. In Enterprise RAG, citation is architecture, not an afterthought. 1 question, 3 retrievers, an ensemble that orchestrates them into a quality gate. Build the architecture right, and the agent follows every single time. Welcome to the future of trusted enterprise AI.
Awesome. Good RAG gives answers. Great RAG drive decisions. Good RAG gives answers. Great RAG drives decisions. Bad RAG breaks trust. With this, we would like to wind this session. Thank you all for coming here in person. Thank you.
Thank you.